but still, without a doubt, deep wellsprings of hope persist for this extraordinary nation as it completes one chapter of its history and begins another. Extraordinary is the right word, for a sweeping look at our history shows that nothing was ever ordinary about the discovery of America and the growth of political institutions destined to travel around the planet. By definition, the New World was different from the Old, and from that elemental fact came 5 centuries of shock, awe, and gradual enlightenment. The journey that began with a single voyage by Columbus continues to this day. For all these reasons, I was attracted to Melville's passage and to the phrase Ark of the Liberties. It is resonant for any student of early American history, recalling the arrival of the Ark and Dove, the first vessel to arrive in Maryland, one of the most tolerant places on earth when it was founded. It conjures Noah's Ark, an apt metaphor for America, with 2 of everything coming by boat to establish a new society. And it hints at the Ark of the Covenant, the legendary container of the 10 Commandments, and suggestive of the idea still palpable in the ether, that Americans possess the key to religious truth that are unavailable to others. I also like the word's versatility. To me, ark conveys both venerability and motion, the pitch and heave of a crossing, the arc of a pendulum, a constant inconstancy. I was taken with the image of a vessel that steadily takes on more passengers, stopping here and there in remote locations. I also thought it accurate for the fact that boats rarely float in a straight line, but tack from one course to another, testing the prevailing winds, going as far as currents and weight and food supply will allow before taking new measurements and correcting course again. Last, the word arc faintly suggests arc-en-ciel, or arc in the sky, the French term for a rainbow. For what idea has been more powerful in our history than the hope that something wonderful, a pot of gold or simply a new beginning, waits over the next horizon? All these arcs bear upon a very old American idea that I would like to explore in this book. As Melville hints, our nation's journey is no simple commute from point A to point B. The Ark of the Liberties has always been interpreted by Americans as a voyage on behalf of all humanity. At its essence, it is a voyage in search of freedom, defined in 1,000 different ways, to be sure, but still understood to be a destination we are searching for so that we can make its coordinates known to the rest of mankind. As politicians from Thomas Paine to Woodrow Wilson to George W. Bush have told us, we have nothing less than a mission to redeem the world. The urge to be free, so basic as to barely need expression, infuses the internal language of the Declaration of Independence, the still astonishing orations of Abraham Lincoln, and the great statements of American purpose offered by Franklin Roosevelt during the darkest days of World War II. It also can be reduced to cardboard simplicity, as in New Hampshire's terrifying license plate motto, "Live free or die." My hope was that a more thorough inspection of the American ark, its origin, destination, and manifest, would help all passengers. For some time I had wanted to write an expansive book about America's engagement with the world, not a history of U.S. foreign policy exactly, but a reflection on the ideas that we Americans carry around like iPods, barely conscious of their weight. True, it's an inexhaustible topic, and it may be a fool's errand to try to capture it within a single book. But I miss the sweeping histories of the 1940s and 50s, when Americans thought nothing of trying to express big national ideas at a time when everything American suddenly had global ramifications. I thought that a series of discrete chapters on different moments from our past would allow me to cover a lot of ground without having to write about everything. One of my goals was to give back to Americans a sense of how vast our history truly is. We think of Jefferson as an early figure, but even he was amazed at how old America was. He never admitted that the last mastodons had disappeared from the interior, and went into raptures when the fossilized toenail of a giant sloth, the great claw of Megalonyx, was discovered at Big Bone Lick in Kentucky, proving that enormous creatures had once stalked North America. I knew that I wanted to take the story back to its beginning, but I had no idea how far back it went. I'm not sure that I've found it yet. It may surprise readers to encounter a book about the ideas inside American foreign policy that begins with Columbus. Most accounts go back to Vietnam or possibly World War II. But I believe it a worthy enterprise to read more deeply in the obscure texts of the distant past than is the norm.